Yo, wanted to do a quick video on this. Angry Joe. I know a lot of people were anticipating his review of Last of Us 2. It is now out. You can go check that out. To be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of Angry Joe. Not to say that I don't respect him. He does some very well, thorough, unique reviews. It is Angry Joe after all. And, he's been doing this certainly for a minute. And I was interested at nonetheless hear what he's saying. When I say I'm a big fan, it doesn't mean I don't respect him. I'm just saying some of the conclusions that he may come to, I may not agree with. This is why I can respect what he does without being like, I'm not like the biggest subscriber to Angry Joe, but I was looking forward to what he had to say about this because I was hoping that there would be someone of that bigger stature that was calling this for what it was. The bigger guys, for the most part, have been saying the same old generic thing, 10 out of 10. When it came to The Last of Us 2, even though that's not a 10 out of 10 game, when you consider how linear and how story-driven that game is, the story is a big part of it, and if the story is crap, then there's no way that game can be 10 out of 10. I don't care if the gameplay or the graphics looks good. But Angry Joe did his review, and I'm going to play this one little part real quick for you because he does sum it up.
What? Are you out of your mind? I've been waiting 7 years in order to be able to re-engage with these characters, and when they come here, they're nothing like the characters that we know. They're done poorly. They're focusing on completely different characters that I don't give a shit about, that you didn't introduce properly to make me care about them in the best way possible, and I'm playing more with them than I am with the characters that I've been waiting to play with. And then at the end of the game, the characters that I wanted to play with are destroyed. They're gone. They're nothing. They're broken or dead. All of them are broken or dead, and all the new characters that I like in this game are dead and gone and broken. Are you out of your mind?
So what he does, he also did a skit about the beginning, like not the beginning, the Joel's death. I don't care if I'm not giving you no. I guess I technically am giving you a spoiler alert, but I hope to hell I'm spoiling this game for you. Nonetheless, he does a skit where Tommy and him are just basically saying who they are and everything. Angry Joe in this review says a lot of what I say. There's some things that I don't say, some things that I disagree with. But the main talking points that I've sort of driven as far as what's the characters, the character's not feeling the same. It doesn't even make sense. The ending doesn't make sense. It doesn't have any point. They're trying to force Abby on you, trying to make you fall in, love with this character. And it doesn't make any sense. Like all of those things, the countless amounts of videos that I did on this, Angry Joe basically reiterates in regards to some of those things. Not every single thing, but for the most part, certainly when it comes to Joel's death, how Abby's shoehorned into this, the ending, he said some of the very similar things to what I said, a little more in detail, because he does spend a lot of time with certainly his reviews. And of course, he was playing it on Twitch. Look, man, a big shout out to him. I mean, I'm gonna give him props. I know I did a video criticizing him and Young Yeah. By the way, I won't say not too long ago. It was over the whole 2K thing. Nonetheless, he's right here. And I'm actually glad that there's someone in that position that is coming to I won't say coming to that conclusion, because that's just what it is. It's just the facts of the matter. What's happened is that it's a big gap, you know what I'm saying, between the guys that are, access media, critic media, professional guys that depend on said access to really do their jobs. So it seems like, I don't know if they're paid. I'm not going to sit here and speculate because I really don't know. I mean, it seems that way. At the very least, it seems that their review rests upon trying to make sure that they're happy. Naughty Dog, that is. Sony, that is. Because the conclusions that they come to just don't seem to make any sense for anybody that's a fan of this franchise and a fan of, or has seen you've seen the game, you've played the game basically. I just don't understand how someone can give this a 10 out of 10. Maybe it's because of this. And Polygon had covered this. Some other YouTubers, RK Outpost, covered this as well. Right. About how they were, was it Vice? I think it was Vice. Yes, was critical of the game, right? And a Sony representative reached out on behalf, saying exactly clarify that the exchange wasn't confrontational, but it was nonetheless unusual, as the site doesn't typically have big publishers asking in official capacity why a review reads the way it does. So they're like, that's odd, right? And that is odd, I would imagine, to be contacted by such a big studio, and like they're like, hey, well, why'd you do that? Now I'm willing to bet those guys ain't gonna get access no more, man. I can tell you that right now. They're gonna have to get something under the table, but it ain't gonna be official. Certainly ain't gonna be no official review copy going into the future. But maybe that speaks to the fact that there's a disconnect because of things like that, and maybe the other big publications, the mainstream gaming publications, maybe they're more knowledgeable on that. The other ones, that is, because I guess Vice could be, I don't know if it's major, not in the gaming realm, but it's recognizable in terms of its name. So yeah, I mean, it's a real thing, and we deal with this in the music industry as well. It's about who you know, and people have friendships that they want to maintain, and because their livelihoods rest upon having that access, I think you're a buffoon if you think that if you think that people wouldn't sway an opinion, have it slant one way or the other to maintain in the good graces in some capacity, I think you're sadly mistaken. Because for this game, it just doesn't make sense. But I don't know. I respect Angry Joe for going that route and blasting them, and it's not just because he validates the position that I have. It's that I respect the fact that he is in the position that he has, and I think those are the guys that you should trust more. Again, not even the biggest fan of them, but I think those guys, their words are going to be way more valuable. It's going to hold more clout in terms of, well, this is my honest opinion and my honest assessment. Those types, include myself, because we're not attached to these guys in terms of the access and stuff of that nature. And I know Angry Joe's connected, but he has absolutely no issue going after these guys. And I think those people who don't have that connection or obligation, their reviews of video games and such are going to be more reliable than the others. It's very corporate. It's very political in that people need to maintain access. These guys are friends. These guys link up. You know, hey, scratch my back, I will scratch yours. You know, we rub elbows. You know, hey, help me out, set me up, I'll set you up. You know, give you a good review. We'll give you some interviews. Like I've talked about this in a video. You know, seems the guys that had the positive reviews, they get I mean, the whole cast got access to the whole cast. Neil Druckmann, Ashley, Baker, they got access to all of them. Full podcast, but just so happened that they also gave them 10 out of 10 game. No, that's not how it works. You think if they didn't give that a 10 out of 10, you think that access will remain as such? You don't think that would ruffle feathers? And I get it, you know, you gotta, if that's your livelihood, I guess you feel as if you gotta play the game. I mean, it takes a knock on your integrity, and we're not supposed to take you serious. And I'm certainly gonna encourage people not to take you serious. Nonetheless, though, I get it. I understand in some capacity why it is that you do it. I'm just saying, I think it's stupid. But it is what it is. The game, the story's trash. I know there's all these pseudo-intellectuals who think that, you just don't get it. You think it sucks because you don't understand. Because it's just so layered of a game that nobody could quite understand why these events exist, why these characters act in the way that they act, why the storyline goes in the direction that it goes in. You just don't understand it. No, we understand it perfectly fine. We get we know there was an attempt. We just say the attempt sucked. That's it. It was a trash attempt. It was a trash attempt. It was a trash follow up to a classic game. As far as I'm concerned, Last of Us 2 is not canon. Well, Fat Gerald's canon. Fat Gerald absolutely is canon. Fat Gerald DLC win. Maybe that would. I think that'll bring some of us back. But man, it was trash. And I just wanted to. I know I've criticized him in the past, but Angry Joe. He has, I believe he does have the right position, but I want to be clear. It's not that he just agrees with me. It's the fact that he's seeing it through that lens as a gamer, seeing it through the lens that a lot of us see it through when it comes to playing. I think you do need the proper context and to play the first game. And because he has the stature, he does not have to do that, but he does it. And I respect him for this. Is why I will respect him. You know, I disagree with politics. I disagree with some of his approaches to the rating system and how he thinks people. I think I've done my videos. I've been critical of him, but props to him for doing this because it needed to be done, certainly by people of that stature. Nonetheless, I was gonna say what I had to say. Either way it went. That's why I did my video. So it was trash. It was trash, and Angry Joe came to a similar conclusion that I did.